Hi, I'm Andrew Owen. I'm the council person that represents District 9 in Metro Louisville, and we're at the chicken steps in the Clifton neighborhood.
There were some people who very actively opposed this.
We're going to talk to some of the neighbors about the Clifton neighborhood and its relationship to the chicken steps.
That's how they got the nickname.
So we're on the chicken steps, which are at the end of Vernon Avenue in the Clifton neighborhood. And the thing that I always say about Vernon Avenue is Vernon Avenue has the most eclectic number of housing types of any road in Clifton. And Clifton is pretty eclectic in and of itself. So if you ever want to see all types of architectural styles, come to Vernon Avenue. You'll see 1880s federalism, you'll see post-war, you'll see some multifamily, you'll see some modern. There's one of every type of house on Vernon Avenue.
The hillside is actually residential, so the parcel of land has got two zonings on it.
That's pretty unusual.
It is unusual.
We're here with Mike O'Leary, and Mike is the, tell me what you are, Mike.
Rebel rouser. I'm the president of the Clifton Community Council.
President of the Clifton Community Council. The chicken steps connect Vernon Avenue to Brownsboro Road, and let's talk about why they're called the chicken steps.
They're called chicken steps from what I understand, because years ago there used to be wooden steps here, and our neighbors had raised chickens, and hence the chickens would be on the steps. That's how they got the nickname of the chicken steps.
And that was before, like, chickens were cool. Chickens were running the neighborhood. That's very, very Clifton.
It's very Clifton of us, right.
When I first met Mike in person, Mike took me on a tour of the Clifton neighborhood. One of the places Mike took me was right here. What is it about the chicken steps?
Well, because they're so important to the neighborhood. As quirky as it is, and as quirky as it sounds, it's so practical, and importantly, it's so needed because our neighbors are able to walk from the top of Vernon down to Brownsboro Road, but more importantly is our visually impaired neighbors. They have a safe route from up the hill down to Brownsboro Road. They can hold on to the railing. It's a sense of safety on Clifton Avenue. There's a big curve, so it's more of a difficult situation, whereas in our chicken steps on Vernon Avenue, our neighbors, our seniors, and are visually impaired, they can come down here and feel safe, secure, going from the top of the Vernon Avenue down to Brownsville Road to Kroger's.
And it is called Clifton for a reason.
It is.
We have a significant elevation change from there to here.
We give neighborhood tours of the Clifton neighborhood because we have lots of quirky things. And the chicken steps are important because we want everybody to know that they exist, how important they are, and they're just quirky. And there's a little sign on Frankfort Avenue in Vernon that says chicken steps, and there's a little sign down there on Brownsboro Road, chicken steps. And I've had friends call me, and, Mike, what the heck is a chicken step? Well, let me tell you. Let's have coffee at Frankfort Avenue shop.
And I'll tell you all about it.
Absolutely. While you're spending your money on Frankfort Avenue, that's so cool.
34.
Yeah, that looks about right.
I'll go double check.
Okay, there you go.
Our chicken steps in Clifton are made up of 36 steps. So you've got a long climb to get to the steps, and you've got 36 more to get to the top. Excuse us. People use the chicken steps.
Yes.
This is no joke. We have the American Printing House for the Blind, and we have the Kentucky School for the Blind on Frankfort Avenue that have been a staple of the community for many years. And so the Clifton neighborhood has one of the largest visually impaired communities in the United States.
It also had, still does under a different name, the Kentucky Industries for the Blind, where a lot of people worked, and they still do today under the name LC Industries down here on Brownsboro Road.
This is Carla Ruschival, and Carla has lived in the Clifton neighborhood since what date, Carla?
1961.
What are some of your first memories of the chicken steps?
Well, my first memories were when we moved into the neighborhood, and I was an only child, and we had a cousin who would come and live with us, and my mother would send us back, down here. Once the Kroger became real, then we would use the chicken steps to get down there to go to the grocery. And they were wooden. When you got down to the bottom, it was just a dirt path. So when it rained, you can imagine, it just kind of washed out, and it was a mess.
Do you ever remember chickens on the chicken steps?
I don't remember but I do remember there were a lot of chickens. You could hear chickens and roosters all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's quite possible, but I never came back here at night.
So then the second evolution of the chicken steps was when they went from wooden steps to being concrete.
That's really where I pick up. In 1976, the blind community had a demonstration of the need to fix the railroad crossing at Clifton and Frankfort and how dangerous it was at the time. And so one afternoon we did this. In fact, we actually went down to, I think it was Mayor Burke's office at the time, to help him understand what was happening with that crossing. And so we came up to Clifton and were out there, and while we were doing that, one of the reporters said, "Any other places around here that are interesting?" And we said, "Well, yes, there are. There's the chicken steps where, blind people that can't drive, the way we get from up here to down there to the grocery store and other things down on Brownsboro Road." In fact, I had a sister-in-law that lived a block from here for many years, and she called me up when she saw the story on TV that night. She said, "Where in the world were you? You were way out in the woods somewhere." And I said, "No, I was over at Vernon on the chicken steps." Harvey Sloan helped to get the concrete done back here, the pathway cemented down to the Jerry's parking lot.
So it's been a very important pathway from Frankfort Avenue to Brownsboro for all of Clifton, but in particular for the visually impaired community.
And also we cannot leave out the elderly community.
So then there was the developer who was proposing that the chicken steps be closed. And this is a public easement. Once again, the Council for the Blind stepped in.
Apparently somebody in the blind community literally ran into the sign and asked somebody, "What does this sign say?" And that's how they learned about it.
I go, "What?" He said, "Yeah." Well, the one thing led to another, and that's how I met Cassandra.
I know that I ended up working with Carla and the council on this case where this right-of-way was being closed. I didn't know about the chicken steps. I had to learn about the chicken steps. Learned a lot from Carla. The plans had been signed off by the Metro Public Works, which it turned out didn't have an institutional memory that they had built the steps. And I believe the developers hadn't actually disclosed that these steps existed on the right-of-way that they were wanting to close.
So, "Oh no, we don't want this to happen." And so the blind community and others went down to Aldermanic Chambers. That was before the merger. And there was this hearing in the afternoon. My son was in high school, so he had not been a driver very long. He went out and helped round up people that afternoon to come down to Aldermanic Chambers. So here we were, and we're in there making our views known, and the attorney for the cottage side said, "Well, we've been here before. This is like the third hearing. This is the last. And these people show up just at the last minute." And we said, "Well, that's because we didn't know anything about it."
So I just love that story that you guys were able to step in and preserve something that's so historic, but also so critical to the community.
But it couldn't have happened without help. Everybody over the years has been able to work together in this neighborhood to make things happen.
That's what community is all about, really, in the end.
It is.
So it's incredible that the chicken steps have had so many times where we've had institutional memory lost by government. Government had to get involved to get them built. Government was involved to close them for a minute. And so there have been so many iterations, but they've survived and they're still here today.